So latest news in the On It world, new Alpha Brain formula, which is just a slight tweak on the old formula.
It's fascinating to me that this is a new frontier. Every single report I've gotten back is positive. All these people that have tried it, I'm getting testimonial after testimonial.
I think Alpha Brain's amazing. That was the first supplement I took from them, and just like you hear, I think you feel amazing. Overall, feel great. Mental focus, feel sharp.
By the way, Max Eberly, one of the best pool players, a great instructor, is just raving about Alpha Brain.
3 hours of sleep at the most, and it would keep me focused throughout the day and ready to go.
Awesome dreams at night, lucid dreams. You know, my girlfriend Sarah takes it. She was like talking about flying around. I definitely had some pretty intense dreams with it as well.
Babe, you're home.
What are you doing?
I've been trying out this new Manscaped trimmer I just got.
So if you guys aren't familiar with Manscaped, they have been one of the leaders when it comes to grooming your downstairs business, and now they just came out with their Lawnmower 3.0.
Everybody online say that this is the best thing to not nick or snag your nuts.
See, the Lawnmower 3.0 was designed specifically for your man zones. It's small, waterproof, features skin-safe technology,
which means it reduces the risk of cuts when you're trimming those delicate areas.
Are you kidding me? And this thing really feels like I couldn't hurt myself with it if I tried.
And it has an LED light at the head of it to illuminate the way for your grooming endeavors.
With the Perfect Package 3.0 kit, you have everything you need to take your grooming routine to the next level.
We have the Crop Preserver. It's anti-chafing ball deodorant. They also give you Crop Reviver ball toner.
If that's not enough, you can also get free extras, including the Shed travel bag and their patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs.
Plus free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Head over to manscaped.com and purchase your Perfect Package 3.0 today. Your balls will thank you.
All right, welcome back to the Final Shot Podcast. Today, the podcast is brought to you by Onnit. So go check them out. It's www.onnit.com/TFS podcast. Make sure you put TFS podcast in there and you'll save 10% on your purchase. Anything you want to buy, Alpha Brain, Shroom Tech Sport, elk bars, battle fucking ropes, maces, kettlebells, all that kind of shit. Onnit.com/TFS podcast. We're also brought to you by USG Canada. This is my latest toy that they sent me. Fantastic. Yeah, it's dope, right? So go check them out. We're going to have a website up here pretty soon. I think it's usgfightgear.com. If you use the promo code The Final Shot on there, you're going to save 20% on your purchase. Or just hit up my boy Howie by email, howie@usgcanada.com, and he'll get you hooked up. We're also brought to you by Sovereign Extracts. THC, CBD, any of that kind of stuff you want to get, hit up Sovereign Extracts. They're going to have a page on the new USG site. If you use the promo code The Final Shot, you're going to save some money on your purchase. This is a fun one, guys. Fleshlight.
It's a big one.
All you motherfuckers like to jerk off. I know you do, you sick fucks. So, if you don't want to get lube on your hands or you got callousy hands, you don't want to touch your piece, hit up Fleshlight. Go to their website, fleshlight.com. Use the promo code The Final Shot, and you're going to save some money off your jerk-off products. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, an old buddy of mine, kind of a new friend of mine again, because we just got reacquainted via social media. I used to pick this motherfucker up and take him to the gym. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Meyer, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I left.
A long time. Happy to see you.
Yeah, you too. I left the island back in 2011, and
good call. Yeah,
we just got reacquainted, and unfortunately, it was on some bad terms. You've been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is cancer.
Yeah, it's cancer, man. It just kind of just sprung up out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden you fail a couple of tests, things happen all of a sudden, and you're like, whoa. Some health issues. I thought I was in the best shape of my life. I was going around talking all this shit to people. I was putting in work, and I felt so good. And then all of a sudden, it's like kicked right in the groin.
Well, unfortunately,
in the worst way. And it's like humble pie, you know.
Unfortunately, with Hodgkin's lymphoma, there's no real way to say how you got it. It's just a mutation in your white blood cells.
Dude, you probably know more than me, actually, because I've been doing intentionally trying to stay away from going on Google and trying to, learning all this stuff, right? Obviously I know a little bit about it, but yeah, there's no serious symptoms, nothing like massive tumors or nothing. It was kind of just a bunch of lymph nodes decided, hey, we're going to start building some cancer cells, and they started metastasizing together. And it just so happened that where it happened on my body was right on my heart, between my heart and my airway. It was actually on my right ventricle. And of course, I knew none of this. So
wow.
I was working out, and I'm just coming up in the fire service. So I was putting in all this extra, like, at the time, especially now, and then I'm like a rookie firefighter, to say the least, like I'm learning all the stuff. So I'm learning from everybody. But the one thing I had was the cardio, the endurance, the strength. Like I was the man in that sense. So I didn't have any symptoms. Like I had a couple night sweat episodes, like nothing serious. All of a sudden it's like I failed a test at the fire hall.
Yeah.
It was like a really weird lung function test where you just breathe into a cardboard tube, and it kind of measures the output. And with the output, you can kind of see how your input is doing, blah, 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 and how much you're putting in and out. And out of, I think it was like 25 guys, 25 or 30, I'm the only one who failed. And I failed 3 times in a row. And I just ran like 13K that day. I think I did like 20 the day before. I was like just putting in miles, and I like laughed at the test initially. It was one of those like, oh, really? This? Okay. All of a sudden, fail. And they're like, you need to go get this checked out. Immediately after failing those, was shut off from any work in the fire service. Like they were like, go get that investigated. And you're like off duty immediately. So it was walking in all hot shot and walking out tail between the legs, like, oh my God, what's going on?
And coming from a guy like you, we're talking about legit badass, former combat sports athlete. You and I have done numerous rounds together. I remember the one time you kicked Adam Gable in the face and fucked his whole face up. That was hilarious.
Dude, that was a fun night. But I used to spar with you a lot, and it was rough. Like at the beginning, it was rough because there was definitely I would say there was more of a weight difference then, because I was a lot skinnier and more lean then, but I think I bulked up a little bit. But it was made me tough. That's for sure. Going in with all the guys at Zuma, it was I'm just glad I wasn't there when Braidwood was there.
I actually made a stop there when he was there. I visited the island and I got some rounds in with him, so that was fun.
Yeah, no, it would be fun to watch too. Yeah, no, it's I actually, now that we're kind of talking about it, I've been wanting, because I have a buddy who trains and he coaches guys here, and his name's Anthony. I've been chatting with him for a while now, and I've been wanting to get into boxing again. So I actually made an appointment or a date or time on Saturday. So I'm going to go work out with him for the first time. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hitting some pads, hitting the bag. You know what I mean? Like,
why not?
It's the first time I've actually thrown the gloves on in like years. So it's going to be kind of cool. I've been seeing all the YouTube fighters and all the UFC guys coming up. And it's been like, man, maybe I want to get back in there, do some sparring or something,
We'll get into some old stories, but let's finish this shitty story, and then we'll get into some fun stuff. So for the people that don't know and aren't going to go on Google because they're lazy fucks, Hodgkin's lymphoma is just a mutation of the white blood cells. There's literally nothing you can do about it. It just happens, and doctors don't know how it happens, and it's just one of those things. It's one of the most curable cancers. And I was reading before we got on here, you could actually have Hodgkin's lymphoma for 5 to 10 years and have no fucking idea.
Yeah. And I honestly, we've been thinking about this the whole time. Like, I wonder when I got it, how I got it. You know what I mean? It's really hard to tell. Like, it's not like liver cancer where you've been drinking for 30 years, okay, well, obviously. But yeah, it's a unique one. And it's I got lucky because when I found out, it's actually a funny story now. At first, I could not laugh about this. I was really rattled about it. The way I found out I had cancer, I go into the doctor's office, and the guy, he's a South African doctor. He's actually really nice now. But first impressions at this time, it was not good. It was oh yeah, I'm surprised you didn't fail. Oh, I'm surprised you failed. You have lymphoma. And I was like, what? You know, like, but now I laugh about it because it's so, the manner was so harsh. It's just like, it's kind of funny, you know. It was, but yeah, for a month there, I didn't know what it was. I don't know if it was like the curable kind, because there's non-Hodgkin's, which is uncurable, and then there's the Hodgkin's, which is curable. So I didn't know for about a month, and I had to go through 2 separate biopsies, and I only needed one, but it was a whole kerfuffle. Like, they were like, oh, we need to do this one type of biopsy to see what it is. But then the surgeon was like, oh, it's a really bad idea. It's not going to work. But then the other doctor's like, well, we'll do it anyway. And then sure enough, it didn't work. So I had to go back in for an extra biopsy. And the second one was even worse than the first one. So it was like an extra biopsy, a whole month of, am I going to die from this, or do I have a chance? And obviously I have a chance, and a good one. I got 50-50 chance of it working this whole process. So, yeah. I mean, those are the best odds you get in a casino. So it's like, I'm good with that.
Red or black, pick one.
Red or black, buddy. Yeah.
Wow. So some good things that came out of this is there's a lot of people that showed up for you, especially on that GoFundMe.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk. It's like really hard to describe, you know, like, at first it was really hard to accept, you know, like I didn't set it up or anything, but, it was just hard because all these people were sending money, and I didn't know what at first, if it was going to be from the money for us, my wife and I, or is it going to be like, I'm going to die from this. Maybe the money's going to go to my wife. Like, I didn't know what was going on at first. So eventually, obviously, I was overwhelmed with the support, and it was just like so nice to see it. Money was coming from all over, because my mom's in the States, and a lot of my family's in the States. So they were doing like poker tournaments and like charity, this and that. And it was like really overwhelming, you know. I mean, people just like you don't even know sending you money. And I'll tell you this, I got a bunch of donations of hundreds and thousands of dollars, right? Which is like, you're never going to forget that. But honestly, the only one that like I can remember exactly where I was when it happened, and it was actually the smallest donation. But this one lady, like, she went out of her way trying to find my email address so she could send me a donation, because she didn't want PayPal to take like 5% or whatever.
Yeah.
So she sent me like $10, and I know it's like $10, right? But knowing that someone like probably didn't have much money, and this person I didn't even know, but somewhere in the States, I know her name now, but yeah, she just sent it to me, my personal email. So I wake up one morning with this like donation for $10. It's just like, you know, that's all someone had to give, and they were like, you know, going to give it to me. And it's just, for some reason, that one sticks it out. I got all teary-eyed when I saw it, you know what I mean? I remember, yeah, it was weird, like $10. It's just, anyway, but it's been overwhelming. Yeah. And the fire halls, they all jumped in together, and my chief went to the Chiefs Association, and then it's just been, I've been getting cards from fire halls, like t-shirts, patches from like Ontario, Burlington, you know what I mean? All over. Like, it's been crazy.
It's amazing how something so shitty can rally people up to help one person. If people could just do that on a daily basis, I think the world will be a better place. But it takes fucking stupid situations like this.
Yeah, dude. I think maybe people just were like, yeah, they saw that I was trying to do good, and all I'm trying to do is not just be better than the asshole I was up until I was 20. You know what I mean? So I just want to like, I guess all I want to do is just help people. And I think people just saw that, and they were like, yeah, you know, share the love. And yeah, it's been super overwhelming. Like, it's changed me as a person. And like, I know that sounds typical, and everybody's like, oh yeah, obviously you're going to change cancer, right? But in like 10 months, I can honestly say I've become a better person, and I've become like humbled and just grateful. Like, just going through 2 rounds of chemo and seeing all these people, I'm seeing people only a couple times because they died throughout the process, and like, you know, and meeting people like these old timers that are just like so inspiring that they were given like 3 months and they're on like 3 years and they're happier than like 95% of people on earth. And it's like, you know, it changes you, and luckily in a good way for the most part.
Another positive that came out from it is you got married to somebody that's probably too good looking for you.
She's laughing upstairs. Yeah, 1000%. Like I have to see her every day going to work. It's like, Jesus Christ, I'm going through 2 rounds of chemo. I look like I've been beat up. I'm going, if you can't see it now, but it looks like I'm going through puberty right now because I have like so many zits and it's crazy. But yeah, no, I got married in my living room. Unfortunately, we had it planned to go to Greece. We had everything booked. We had everything booked, dude. Like flights, wedding planner, you name it, it was booked. Like my wife, she's borderline crazy about planning everything, and it was perfect. We had everything perfectly booked, and then like all of a sudden we had to cancel because of cancer. But secretly, like, okay, so 3 days later, COVID broke out. So for 3 days, I had to cancel my whole thing because of cancer. And then eventually, and then within 3-4 days, it was like, you weren't going anywhere. So it was like kind of a little relief, you know, like.
Her name is Ashley, like, right? It's Ashley.
People in March were freaking out, and I was like, oh, you know, like it was kind of like saved by COVID in that one little sense, you know. But
how did you honey dick her into saying yes?
Well, I guess asking her in Greece probably was the ticket, I'd say.
Yeah.
We were like on this island in Greece. We had this whole like abandoned like 100-year-old church, like more than 100, like 1,000 probably. It wasn't an active like church, but you had to hike up this little bluff, and like it was legit. Like the wedding was supposed to be legit too, but it ended up being legit, but just not the same.
It sounds like the beginning of a porno movie.
Oh man, like it was a sunset, dude. It was like we just had a big dinner and I almost puked. Like I was running up these stairs and I had this ring in my pocket and I was obviously nervous. Like it was funny shit, man. Like it was she was sunburnt like a friggin' lobster. It was pretty good. One of those memorable things, but
good for you, man. You definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, no, she's like a 10 out of 10 and I'm like a 4. So I'm a numbers guy, so that works out. I'll take it.
A lot of crazy things have happened since 2011. I'm married. I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I'm old.
You're a fucking expert bow hunter.
I'm all
slaying animals this year.
I was legit. I do all right with my hunting. It's
Remember when you first commented on some of my shit? You were like you commented something like, I didn't know that you knew anything about archery or bow hunting.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, what are you doing with this? Or you made something. And then I made this comment back. I don't know what it was, but it was like, oh, like me explaining something to you. And then lo and behold, you've been shooting archery like 15 times longer than me. And it was just like, it was pretty funny. So I was actually stoked about it because then now I have like a resource to go to and like bounce ideas off, and which I did, I'm pretty sure. So.
Oh yeah. As soon as I left the island, I started bow hunting because the island's bullshit for hunting.
Oh yeah, it's bullshit, but I've been thinking a lot about it, and I'm like dying to get off the island to hunt. It's like tough hunting here, man. Like it really is. Deer small, there's not tons of them, and it's mostly still hunting because you can't see past the tree in front of you. So it's tough, man. And I put in a lot of days to get one small buck this year, and I earned it though. So, but yeah, I'm dying to get out to where you're at.
Dude, you're more than welcome to come out here whenever you want. I'll take you out and we'll put you on something big.
Yeah, like a real deer.
Yeah, not those chihuahuas you're shooting out there. Fuck, those things are small.
Dude, I have hours of stories. Like, I got a couple good. Like, you'd be really interested in hearing them. Like, close call, shoes off. You know what I mean? It was like crazy, and like I'm allowed to hunt in this one property really close to my house, and I had a few chances at this one big buck for this area. It was a big 3x3. He was like chunky, and I had him at 20 yards, shoes off, full draw, and it was after I had my first ever arrow that I ever let go at a buck. I hit him too high and he wounded him, and I looked for 12 hours and couldn't find him. So it was right after that. So I was super gun shy and like scared to fuck up. Sorry.
That's all right.
And,
man.
And I had him, and I just didn't like where he might have ran, because I'm allowed to hunt on this one property, but he might have gone off.
Yeah.
And I just like, if I didn't make a perfect shot, he was going to go off. And I just like got all gun shy. But so I had like 2 other opportunities at this one deer and ended up taking his little brother, but whatever.
This is the shittiest feeling on the planet too, when you hit something and you can't find it, or you know it's wounded and you're trailing a blood trail and then it goes dry. It's a real, they're not exactly like a shitty looking animal. Like, they're cute.
No, like, they're not. I was gutted. Like, I respect these animals just as like, not necessarily, they're not like the smartest things on earth, obviously, but they are like superhuman in their senses, you know, and they're so fast, so wiry, and like, go hunt and strike out for a month basically, and you get a respect for them, you know what I mean? And this one in particular, it was pissing rain. And what made it worse was me getting too excited and being on Instagram, putting a video up. Oh, I got one. I'm just going to go follow it, doing like a Remy Warren play-by-play. And then sure enough, I never ended up finding him. The blood trail wasn't good enough to begin with. And I found the arrow like 30 yards away, but within 5 minutes, it was clean. So I couldn't find a blood trail. I didn't get a good enough hit on him to really make a big enough one. So it was a gut check. And that's like bow hunting, man. It's so tough and it's humbling. And not only did I get humbled with medical stuff, but I learned archery, and I learned fast that it's not the same as a rifle. Like,
no.
If I had a rifle, you know, obviously I could say that a million times this year, but like, if I was rifle hunting, I would have tagged out.
Yeah.
Like,
you should take your rifle out too at some point. I do every year. Bow season ends, I take my rifle out.
I actually, it's funny, I didn't. I did go hunt one day with my buddy. He brought it out, and I'm really glad we didn't see anything, because I brought it to the range and I was hitting like 6 inches to the right at 100 yards. So I must have banged it out over between the season or whatever, but I'm really glad we didn't use it, because it would have been like, oh shit, right? But yeah, it was a tough year. I went to Texada Island too.
Yeah.
Between rounds of chemo, and or no, actually, sorry, that was actually my second round. Yeah, I went with my buddy, and my buddy Adam, he took me to Texada, and there's a bow only season, like a late season there. And yeah, it was pretty wild. There's no predators or anything. And it was just deer, like, you would not believe. Like, they're wiry as shit. But I've never seen more sign, like, in my life. It's incredible.
You should come to my backyard.
Well, you show me the videos. You like drive to the gym and you see more deer than I'll see in a month. I'm not joking.
Dude, you go where my house is, so I own a little bit of property, and then behind my house is these abandoned baseball fields. And you can't walk through that field without stepping on deer shit. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And then every day at between 4:40 and 5:30, you go down by the butcher shop. I live in a small community of 130 people. You go down by the butcher shop, there's 200, 300 deer in the field. Like, you could literally point your gun, close your eyes, turn your head, pull the trigger, and hit 5 of them.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy.
It's retarded. But
and you're around wild buffalo.
Yeah, dude, that was cool.
What's not to love about that? Like,
that was cool. That was one of the most eerie feelings I've ever had in my life, where one of those feelings where I wasn't scared, but it was like a one of those.
It's like when you see a grizzly or something.
Yeah, you're never going to see this again, but I probably could, because if I go back down there, they're probably there.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. And like, I'm not going to get into it, but I read that the American buffalo, and the amount of buffalo that are wild and running around are very, like, there's like maybe 10, 15,000 in North America, maybe 20,000. Like, you saw some rare buffalo or whatever they're called. So pretty cool.
Very rare. And it was a sizable herd too, 30 to 40.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I'll tell you a story about when I won a deer last year. So I was out with my bow, and I was trying to do whitetail with a bow. And if you know anything about Saskatchewan, it's very hard. It's the great wide open here. Like, you can see your dog run away for 7 fucking days.
Yeah, totally.
So I got within I think it was 60 yards, 50 or 60 yards. And I took a shot, but I shot it through the brisket. I said, fuck me. So I trailed it and I trailed it and I trailed it. And last year they passed this new law where you got to ask permission to go on people's property. And he jumped the fence and over into somebody else's property. Now we're talking, I trailed this cocksucker for I don't even know how long, because we got about 50,000 acres out here we can hunt.
Yeah, that's insane.
And he went off of that into somebody else's property. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going anywhere. I don't give a shit. Because I'm not going to leave it. I'm not going to wing it and then leave it. I can't. I'll go till, because I can see forever. So I'm going to find you at some point. But he ended up taking off on a dead run and got about 900 yards away from me. So I pulled out my rifle and I ended up plugging it in the head at about 760 yards.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good shot. I am not ethical past 200. Even then, I'm like, I only shoot a pretty fairly cheap Savage 30-06.
Yep.
So like, I mean, it's a pretty cheap gun. I'm looking at maybe getting some new ones eventually, but I'm into the bow hunting and I want to stick to that. You know what I mean? It's just one thing at a time. I went to the range it was a couple days ago or something, and I have a lot of respect for people who can shoot at distances, because there's a lot to know.
Yeah.
A lot of technique, and I'm dying actually to get some actual instruction. Like I see a lot of these like special forces guys online, and I'm just like, they're all putting on courses on how to shoot and operate guns. And I'm like dying to get into one of those, and actually learn from an expert, none of these like just like guys are at the range think they know everything kind of thing. But
that's it's an art form in itself, and it's hours upon hours and hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of lead sent down range.
Yeah,
it's retarded. I don't shoot an expensive gun. Like your Savage 30-06 is a great gun.
Yeah,
you're literally paying for the name. I shoot a Mossberg 300 Win Mag. That thing's dead accurate at 1,000 yards.
Yeah, wow. I've never even tried to shoot at 1,000 yards, to be honest with you.
Really?
I mean, I did biathlon as a kid, so I do have like the fundamentals of shooting pretty well. And I got a shotgun and a 22 and the rifle, and so it's like I have shot a decent amount, but I want some instruction. I need to learn the science behind it, because there's a lot of actual numbers that you got to know if you want to be good, right? I see some guys at the range, and man, they look professional. So I don't know if they are, but
well, a lot of those guys that shoot at those long distances too also load their own rounds, so they're counting down to specific grains and what primer they're putting in and what grain of tips in the fucking. Get out of here!
I go to Cabela's, buy a box.
Yeah, if I don't hit it at 1,000 yards, it's either me or the bullet. So I don't. It is what it is. But when I first started hunting, I was dead set. I was going to be a bow hunter, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into hunting to provide for my family. It became a very different thing. One deer doesn't do us anymore. It lasts maybe 2 months, and then we're out. What I hope for here in Saskatchewan is what I got this year, which was getting a draw. Plus, I can still fill all the radio tags.
Yeah, see, here we only have, they actually increased the bag limit to 3, which is pretty awesome. And, in hindsight, I definitely wish I would have gotten more range time and more time on the gun, because I would have, I mean, I would have not been a hero and brought the rifle out and would have got more deer, because I know I would have I would have filled the freezer a lot more than I did. But it's pretty cool. I mean, I did start archery in like April when I found out I had cancer. I literally actually, my wife's boss and I were close, and we're all like a really close unit, and he's been so incredible this whole time and helped us out so much. But he actually bought me my first bow.
Oh, nice.
And he got me started because, you know, I just found out I had cancer, and I was out of work and all that stuff, right? So we didn't have tons of dough, and he just knew that it would help me out a lot, and not like, you know, help me out a lot mentally to get me through what was about to happen. Like, you know, 6 months of chemo right through summer started off. And so, yeah, he bought me a full setup at Cabela's. It was pretty crazy. And I started shooting, and, you know, I started shooting in April and taught myself because, you know, during COVID, right? So everybody who stuck on quarantine and not being lazy, or, you know, like, I had a lot of time on my hands. I got after it as much as I could. And archery, like, without getting all emotional and being like all cheeseball, like it fucking saved my life this time, man. Like, going through the summer, if I didn't have archery and like having to learn and practice as much as I could, you know, every day I'd get reps in. I'm able to shoot from my doorstep. So we're on a nice chunk of land, you know, well, not compared to your land, but you know, we have a nice property, so I could shoot right off my deck, 40 yards, you know, no problem. I can go up to like 70 yards in my property if I really want to.
Nice.
So anyway, yeah, it meant everything to me. So to be able to actually, like, finally, after I think it was like 32 or 33 days of either being in the stand or hiking between rounds of chemo, I finally got something like right in the middle of the rut in November. And it was like the best feeling. I was sitting right across the table having dinner that night, having some of the deer, and I was actually like talking to my wife, and I was like in tears. I was like literally so happy. It was like, you know, like a month of literally putting in 100% and like getting humbled every day. Like, I would go 2 weeks without getting even an arrow off or even being at full draw. Like, brutal, man. It was tough. But
so was this while you were eating the deer's testicles?
Oh yeah, they were good. You've obviously done this, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I used to be I was just in the field dress it, quarters, like take the tenderloins, leave all the ribs, and leave, like, I was just getting, because all the other deer that I got were all solo in and out, you know. So I was still kind of learning and shit, right? And this year I did the ribs, the liver, the heart, testicles. That was one of the first things I ate, which is weird, you know. Like, you have a respect for this animal, then you eat his balls, and you're like, yeah, like you kill. Like 2 hours later, you have his balls in your mouth. You're like, well, who actually won, right?
Yeah. They don't taste shitty though.
They're surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And like, so much so that I might do it again. I mean, you have to keep proof of sex, you know what I mean? Obviously you have the rack, but you know, you gotta keep proof of sex. And you know, I did the heart, which was first time I ever ate anything's heart. And in hindsight, I would have prepared it nicer, just a little bit fancier, but it was really good.
Yeah,
tender.
Heart's fantastic. So is liver. So when we shoot a deer out here, there's one way that we tell whether they're going to be a grind deer or we're going to butcher them and make steaks. And we actually take the liver out and we cut a piece off of it raw and we eat it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, if it tastes skunky, that deer goes in the grind pile. If it tastes sweet, then we keep the deer and we do everything that we're going to do with it. Steak, roast, yeah. So try that next time.
I think Ranella was talking about how the Native Americans used to take the liver, they'd take chunks off it raw, but they'd also take the gallbladder, squeeze out the bile, and use that as like sauce or whatever, and then they eat the liver and that's like the first thing they'd go for.
Yep.
The thing would be like barely like dead, you know?
Well,
it'd be still warm, steaming up, and they'd be right in there. You know what I mean? Like it's.
When we're butchering them too, like we eat raw meat off of them all the time.
Yeah.
I get hungry, I just have a snack. But
yeah,
nothing wrong with it. It's not going to kill you.
No, this time this deer, I got it out and myself. Luckily, it wasn't that bad. I hiked all morning and hadn't seen a deer, and then all of a sudden went to my private property spot and finally paid off. And I shouldn't admit this, but I'm going to because it's funny. I took a shot at it, and it was like everything aligned like perfectly because I took a shot at this thing. I was shaky. I didn't range it, so I missed high, clean miss, like inch or so above him. And he was either so dumb or so rutted up because there was does right behind him. He was there. It was peak rut. He didn't move. Oh, sorry, he moved like 5 yards. Stood there, quartering away, like looking at me, like, "What was that?" Just an arrow went right over him. Didn't move, barely. And then it gave me a chance to get another arrow knocked and then send that one. And then obviously I knew I just aimed a little lower and got him. And he ran 40 yards.
Done.
It was actually a weird run, but he barely ran at all. And it was just like everything aligned because that deer should have ran.
Yeah.
And it would have been SOL for me, but. It's just the world being like, you know what? You've put in enough time. You've sucked it up enough. Like, we'll give you one.
Will your wife sit down and have a meal of this deer?
Yeah. So she's not into it as much as I am, but she's been getting more and more and into it because I've been doing better things with the meat itself. Like we made burgers this time, and she really, really loved those. Sausages went really well. I actually made like rouladen, which is like a German dish with like deer. You beat it down in slices and wrap little pickles and bacon, and it's actually really good. So I've been doing some different things, and she goes after it and loves that. But she's not normally just like a hunk of deer meat, you know what I mean? But she's been getting more into it, and it's good. It's super healthy and lean, so she loves that.
It's the best. That's all. Like my freezer's jam packed full this year. I had an amazing year. And I'm very grateful for it, and I'll do it again next year, if not a little bit better. I've got a surprise for you at the end of the show, though, and I'll leave it till then. But we'll switch gears.
Yeah.
Do you ever pay attention to combat sports anymore?
I do, man, and like I don't know much about like Canadian. Like I know you're a lot more into the Canadian boxing and stuff, and I know you're trying to look for a fight from this guy. So I heard you call him out. That was awesome. So I don't know who this guy. I'm gonna look him up on Instagram and talk shit. You want? I don't know.
I'll smash his fucking face in.
No, I'm just that's awesome. I've been watching the UFCs, and my buddy Anthony there, he's boxing. I know you're wanting to get back into fighting and get another fight, and it's been eating at me. I just finished chemo, so now I'm good to go to do some working out. So I'm getting back in there and doing some sparring. Yeah.
You were a hell of a good little fighter back in the day. Like when I was there, you're a motherfucker to go with. I was running around 196 pounds at that point, and you were probably 170. So they were good rounds, but you had some fucking real good skills.
Yeah, it was good, man. Like you were more like the stand-up fighter. You know what I mean? You had we were like, I would say very different styles. Like I'm super lean, skinny, long. You know what I mean? And like I'd be sparring you, and I'd be like, Jesus Christ, I just want to grapple with you, so I'd actually have a chance some days. You know what I mean? Like, it was. I came up. I started boxing or kickboxing actually in high school.
Yeah.
I was I had a co-op where it's like a work experience, and I somehow weaseled my way into the Pedirex gym. Like I was training there, obviously, and then I was like, well, I could make this my job. Like I was training newbies and pushing the mop around, which is mostly me just cleaning the mats. And that was my 3 days a week for like 6 months in high school. I was training and going to school at the same time. So I started young and started getting my ass handed to me at a young age. Well, fairly young. And that's how you get good. Is just get punched a lot.
Before you came to Zuma, I was getting fucked up in there bad by Ryan James. Adam, I went up to Adam Zuzak and I said, "Hey man, I want to fight." He said, "All right, get ready."
Get ready. Yeah.
I was getting fucked up by that guy, and then one day I caught up.
Oh yeah, you definitely caught up, man. And Ryan James, I've been knocked out a few times sparring, but they weren't. I've never been like one punch knocked out by anyone except for Ryan James.
Yeah.
I remember that day, which is funny how I remember it because I just got knocked clean out. I think you were the first person I saw. I tried getting up, and I think I tried fighting off my back even or something. I remember you being like, "No, you're out. Like, stay down." Like, I remember it was a clean right hand. I don't even like. It was the hardest thing I've ever been hit with in my life.
He hits hard.
It was hard. I mean, I know Tark. Remember Tark?
Oh yeah.
He knocked me out twice in one round, but from body shots.
Yeah.
That was another one of the guys. I did not like sparring with Tark. That motherfucker hit so hard. Like, he was like pretty strong mentally. I don't think it gets much stronger than that. No. So
he's the one that did this to my nose.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Rearranged my face a couple times. He's a tough bastard, man.
Yeah, I remember. That's kind of how I mean, I don't know if it's like that nowadays.
No.
Lots have changed, but when I first came to Zuma after training somewhere else, Adam Zuchek put me through the ringer and like just to see what you're made of, right? Yeah. And see, obviously I wasn't going against newbies right away. I think the first guy I rolled with was Gavin Neal.
Oh, he's a motherfucker.
And he was mean. Like, he's the nicest guy ever, but at the same time, like, mean as fuck when you go on the mat. And he was like, "Oh, fresh meat." I bet you he had the time of his life just putting me in a pretzel. Like,
yeah.
And then I went through. I remember Dreger, he beat me up, and then I think everybody beat me up that night. It was awesome.
Back when we were there, those were the glory days of what was going on for combat sports on the island, because we had AFC running around. King of the Cage was coming to Nanaimo. There was fights happening. We had the boys were in there getting their work in, and we were kind of all along for the ride too.
Yeah, no, like it was a crazy time just to be like a sparring partner there. And I remember like all of a sudden, I think one time Ryan Ford was trading for a fight there, and he was fighting like Douglas Lima or something like that.
Yeah.
And Zuchek wanted me in there just because I'm like a long, lanky guy, like the guy he was fighting. So did some rounds with him, and I remember like Keith Jardine coming by, him and Ryan going at it. It was just like, yeah, it was the good days. And Greg Jackson's guys were all coming there often and stuff. And
yeah, it was cool, man.
The glory days. Yeah. What's going on now with you? Where are you training?
Right in my house, man. I can't risk with work and family. I can't risk going out to a gym and getting caught or getting COVID, which I'm not even fucking concerned about COVID. I think it's the flu anyway. I'm not.
Well,
you have to be concerned about these things. I'm fairly healthy. I'm in decent shape. And but if I bring it home to my family or if I take it to work, then I don't make money. And if one of my family members gets sick, my wife or my kids,
not worth it.
No, it's not. So we get her done in the basement.
Yeah, do you have guys come by and like spar or something? That'd be legit.
No, I wouldn't spar down here.
I guess I got COVID. What am I talking about? Yeah, no, like hello, what's been going on, right? No, I'm dying to get back into it, man. I'm dying to like, maybe do some sparring and maybe like one day, maybe do an AMI boxing fight again or something like that. I've actually never done a boxing fight. I've done kickboxing and MMA or whatever, but never just a legit boxing match. So that'd be kind of cool to do.
Well, how old are you now?
I'm 31.
Oh, you're fucking young as shit,
dude. Yeah, no, I got some time. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like. Actually, like, it would just be like a local AMI kind of card. It'd just be fun to do, you know what I mean?
You could do it.
At least spar with guys every once in a while, I'd see if I have some brain cells when I come out of this. We'll see.
Dude, I'm 38 years old, still trying to fucking do shit.
Yeah, you're still young. I think nowadays people have been taking better care of their bodies.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Joe Rogan, you look at guys who are like 55, like, and they're like running 10, 20K a day. Like I think nowadays with the advances in health and technology and stuff like that, like we're gonna live longer and be healthier a little bit older, you know.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
I got a question in the other day because I do fluctuate in weight like a crazy person. What a lot of people don't know is my body now, from getting punched in the face so many fucking times, does not produce testosterone anymore.
So, yeah, you do the TRT or something?
I have to do TRT, but they want me to stay on it all the time. And I can't physically do it because like the shots get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I kind of cycle it. So when I get off, I'll put on weight because I'm not producing the testosterone anymore. So somebody asked me when I want to get into shape, how do I get into shape? Fucking steroids, bro. Straight up.
Steroids, getting after it, you know, like just I mean, whatever you can actually use and like benefit from, you know. I let a lot of people like take supplements and protein and they don't actually get shit from it. No. You know what I mean? Like you got to do it the right way, and sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people they try to use supplements when they should just be trying a little bit harder. You know?
What people don't realize about supplements is like when you take a protein powder or something like that, it's more of a meal replacement. So don't drink a protein shake and then eat a 6-ounce steak and a bunch of vegetables and a potato. That's stupid.
Yeah. You don't need to overload it. You just need to do calculate what you need for your body.
Yeah.
And just less is more. Eat better, eat more, less. Like supplements are supplements. They're not like your go-to. You don't like, oh my God, if I don't have my pre-workout, I can't lift. It's
exactly.
Like, nah.
That stuff will fucking kill you. Pre-workout will kill you.
I remember I started taking it like years ago, like one more rep or one MR, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Like it was like doing drugs. Like my face was numb, like tingly. And you look at I remember my buddy looking at me. It was so funny. He's like, we have to get to the gym now. Like he was like just like fired up from the 1MR and he's like, we need to go now. I just remember that so clearly. Like he was like intoxicated.
Well, dude, there's so much caffeine in those. There's like 8 Starbucks fucking venti coffees in one little scoop. It's insane. There's a couple supplements that are essential that I think everybody should take. One of them is greens. Because nobody eats enough greens. I don't give a fuck who you are. And if you buy your greens at the grocery store, they're not the healthiest things on the planet like you think they are either.
No.
They're unless you're growing them in a garden and you're eating 8 cups of those a day, then you're doing something right.
Well, there's a reason why when you go to Walmart, their bananas are like giant, like hog dick things. Like, you know, they're not supposed to be like, you look at the organic vegetables and you look at the non-organic and there's a giant difference in size. Like there's something in there, you know?
Yeah. Maybe some steroids.
Yeah. I should probably benefit from that, you know?
The other supplement I believe in is amino acids.
Like BCAAs.
Yeah. I think everybody should be drinking those too. I don't give a fuck if you work out or not. We don't get enough of it in our food, period.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, like obviously a lot of us are super deficient in some things, and I'm just recently. Well, actually, I'm going to give it a couple more days, but I'm going to start taking more of the zinc and the COVID, the supplements that are supposed to help prevent or help you keep your body safe from COVID. You know, a lot of zinc, turmeric, which is actually like I forget what the word is. Basically, it allows the zinc to get into your cells a lot easier. And, you know, vitamin D, all these things that help build up your immune system and help prevent getting COVID. You know what I mean? It's not like a vaccine. You're not going to, you know, be 100% safe, but, you know, that's something that the government isn't doing. It's like, let's try and teach people how to be healthier in the time when the number one thing that kills a virus is an immune system. Why not make your immune system better, right?
Yeah. So with the turmeric too, it's an actual natural anti-inflammatory. So that's going to help you out with your chemo treatments too.
Yeah. I'm actually good. If you want to go back into that, I actually am done chemo. I got on my second round. So I have like, I think it's just under a month without any chemo, which is nice. And then I'm about to go through this stem cell transplant.
Okay.
And that involves like more chemo, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
But this chemo that I'm about to have, it's the worst. Like,
okay.
The 2 rounds I've had were nothing compared to what this is going to be. And it's only 5 or 6 days actually, which doesn't sound like much, but it's 8 hours a day, which is 5 full days. And it's so bad that if they gave it to me in real life, like on the street, like in the hospital, then go home, I would die. Like, I need to be monitored full 24 hours a day. Yeah. So the idea is, like, speaking of immune systems, they're the plan is to kill mine completely, 100%, kill my immune system. And that's what they use the chemo for. So like prior to the chemo, they're going to take my stem cells out, and that's my life right there.
Yeah.
So like when they take those out, I thought about the other day. It's like, that's the most valuable package, or whatever you want to call it. That's the most valuable thing I will ever have of mine, because they will take my stem cells out and keep them in somewhere safe, obviously, hopefully. And they're going to kill me basically with the chemo. And they'll preserve my stem cells so that they can bring me right to death's door, and then pump those things back into me, and that's going to get me healthy again. And they're going to reproduce, and then that's going to bring my immune system back up. So they're basically taking out the necessary, like the seeds, killing the garden, all the weeds, everything, and then putting them back in, and then they can grow.
That's a heavy situation, man. So in their theory is they're going to almost kill you in turn to kill the cancer.
Yeah, so they basically are going to completely annihilate my entire immune system, and in which case, which is included, like my cancer is the blood cancer, right? So they're gonna use the chemo. Like the second round of chemo was to help make sure it's the cancer that's still there is kept at bay, not growing. I just had a scan, and it's actually looking really good. So it increased my cure odds, which is nice. But yeah, so basically they're gonna bring me to the point where I have no immune system whatsoever. Like I have, I'm 31. I've had however many shots in my life, flu, chicken pox, or whatever. I actually had that as a kid, but like all the shots you get as a child in school. So you probably know because you have kids. So all the shit that your daughters are getting, like I'm going to have to get again within the next year. So I literally come out of the hospital with zero immune system, zero immunizations. I am like, no matter how strong you are mentally, physically, whatever, you are the sickest person basically out there.
Fuck.
Aside from someone maybe with active whatever, but I'm just saying, like, I have no immune system whatsoever. So I'm going to have to be like that, like basically a kid in like a quarantine box. Like you think the COVID, like having to stay at home because there's a lockdown is bad. Like I'm going to not even be allowed to water plants, like be around dust, be around cleaning products. Like I'm not allowed to be around young kids and senior citizens because like Jesus. I could put them at risk. I'm at risk, and like if I get chicken pox, I am fucking toast. Like as an adult, it's not good. So it's gonna be like I feel fine now, so to speak, and it's like gonna be the biggest gut check you can imagine after, and it involves at least a month in the hospital, no visitors, because it's COVID, right? It's one lockdown. Vancouver General Hospital for 1 month, no visitors. So I'm like, it's gonna be gnarly for me. I haven't spent more than one night overnight in the hospital. I go all the time for chemo, but it's not the same when you go home, right?
Will they let you have your cell phone?
Yeah, I'm gonna be living on that fucking thing.
You get the
and the web chats and whatever. I'll have the laptop, and I'll make the best of it, and I'll probably whine a bunch to my wife. But it's we haven't been apart for more than 4 or 5 days our entire relationship, so it's gonna be rough, man. And I'm not trying to whine about it because there's so many worse people out there, worse off, you know.
Yeah.
But and like this is they're trying to save me, so like cure me. It's not just like, oh, we're trying to kill the cancer, you know. Like we're actually going to try to cure me, and they've pushed me up to the front of the line because they have a good chance, you know. I'm grateful, man, because I have like the best doctors on my side. They've been so nice, and like they're like gung ho as shit because they have a chance to actually cure me, and like that's good for everyone. It's good for them. It's good for their careers. It's good for my career. So let's rock and roll. Like,
hopefully this happens, man. I hope it gets done like sooner rather than fucking later.
Yeah. I'm getting talk about like support. Like I got the International Association of Firefighters got a hold of me, which is kind of crazy. And like I don't even feel worthy. I'm like a probie still. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy, but yeah, they got a hold of me, and there's a international like firefighter house in Vancouver, and they do like it's like the Burn Fund house. So they're putting me up there for like a super cheap, like it's like $25 a night or something like that. Everything included, like my own suite, my own kitchenette, like I'll have my mom or my wife staying there taking care of me when I'm there for 2 weeks after the hospital.
Yeah,
at least. So yeah, it's gonna be the real deal. It's gonna be like the hardest thing I'm about to go through. Like this whole year has been rough, but now it's getting real rough, you know. Like I'm gonna lose every bit of hair, like these giant eyebrows, they will be toast. So it's gonna be time to get some.
Well, on the bright side, this weekend we have one of the biggest fights in combat sports. I wouldn't say history, but in recent history. Conor McGregor's returning, Fight Island against Dustin Poirier.
Dude, I'm so pumped for this. Obviously, like every time McGregor fights, like he puts on a show, and like obviously when he fought Cerrone, I love Cerrone. He's my like OG, but I've been watching him forever, so I kind of was pissed at that one. I was like, fuck, man, like that was a rough fight. But dude, it's been weird actually seeing him and Dustin being so respectful and like humble with each other. It's been kind of nice, you know. I think Conor's finally like elevated himself to a point where it's like he doesn't have to talk as much shit and just be the same guy, you know. Like he seems to be more about business this time, and like I mean, I'm excited for this. Like Poirier having lost already, like he's gonna be hungry, and like it's gonna be good. I think McGregor's like just. It might be steamroll city here pretty quick.
I don't think it's going to last terribly too long. I would say probably the second round. I don't see Dustin doing too much better than he did in the first fight. Although I am a Poirier fan, I do like Dustin.
Yeah.
But Conor is on a different level of like when they first fought, he was kind of training back in the Stone Age where Dustin had a world-class gym. Now his gym now, Conor's gym now is kind of elevated into 2020, right? 2021, where they've got the best of the best, and that's Conor McGregor's doing. You got the biggest name in the sport, and people are going to flock to you, right? But
most money, and he's got good training partners. Yeah. I mean, I could see, but like I'm with you, man. I just don't think Poirier's got something that McGregor hasn't seen, you know. Like I mean, unless he takes him down and all of a sudden he's able to submit him or control him, you know. McGregor's pretty feisty, like getting back up, and he's got pretty good defense because literally everybody wants to take him down.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could see it being like a pretty legit finish. If it's a finish, it's going to be something nice.
I don't see Dustin being able to take him down, honestly. Khabib had a hard time taking him down, and he's the best takedown artist in the game, period.
Yeah. I know like McGregor likes that stance, and he had really wide base.
Yeah.
And he's got pretty like a solid base, but you know, he's like he can be heavy on his feet, but he's very light and he's very fast. So it's like I mean, I think didn't he take Khabib down once?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
So
Yeah, so you never know. And he hits like a freight train, like clearly.
People sleep on his ground game too. Trust me, he's got a ground game.
I mean,
he swept Nate Diaz in their first fight, and like not a shitty sweep, a high level sweep.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's a fight that needs to happen. Like I know there's like Diaz is barely fighting, and like you know what I mean. He's like McGregor and him are definitely not on the same levels, but like he actually beat the fuck out of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And choked him out. And then the second fight was like barely a win from McGregor. I mean, I don't know. It was a close fight. It was super close. Like that fight needs to happen, you know?
I thought the fight was a little further away than what it was scored, actually. When you get dropped 3 times in one round,
yeah,
it gets a little dicey, right?
That's fair, yeah. It was a totally different match. It was like,
yeah.
I mean,
it was a good fight.
1-1. Yeah, they need to go again, and it would be good because I actually believe that no matter, like, there'll be some guys who are on a higher level than you, but there's just some people that have your number, you know. There's just some guys you can't fight. They just do things differently. They may not be as good as you, but they just move a little bit different, and you just can't figure it out. And you know what I mean? Like it's like Cormier and Jones. There's just, I think Jones wins pretty much every time.
Oh yeah, the one fight that does really need to happen is Jorge Masvidal has to put that BMF title on the line against Conor McGregor if he beats Dustin this weekend.
Hey, I never even thought of that. Well, that's a good idea.
Hey,
but
let's fight for the BMF title. Let's make it a real thing because there's a belt. It's right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Khabib maybe if McGregor does something fancy, and then maybe he actually comes out of fight. But I don't know. That's just, I think that goes the same way. I think Khabib just takes him down, holds him down, and beats the piss out of him. And I just think that's how it's going to go. Or I don't know. There's that talk of GSP maybe coming back, you know, which would be interesting.
I think Khabib's really good, but I lost interest in him over the last couple of days when Dana White had the sit-down interview with him, and he'll come back if somebody does something good. That means he's not coming back.
Yeah, probably.
If you wanted,
he wants money.
If you wanted somebody to do something amazing, Max Holloway just did it.
Yeah. Do you think he'd go up and fight McGregor?
He went up and fought Poirier.
Yeah. That would be McGregor and him would be a good fight. That would he's tough and
McGregor's already
a good boxer. You think he beat him?
McGregor's already beat him.
It's true, yeah. It's true, yeah.
But
a while ago.
Yeah, I'm talking about Khabib though. Khabib's looking for somebody to do something amazing. Max Holloway just did it. He put on a fucking clinic.
I think Khabib would do the same. I think he'd take him down, and he'd have a harder time finishing though. Max is he's pretty good on the ground too, but I don't know. I think Khabib, it's that Sambo style wrestling, man. It's gnarly. He's a savage. So
I personally think that Conor McGregor's probably the only person that'll be able to touch him, and that's just because he did win a round. Nobody else has won a round against Khabib, and Conor's done the best against him. And I think Conor's on a different level right now, especially personally and being in his own skin. He's got young eyes that are watching him too. His children are watching him, so he's a little more calculated. He's got a few more things to fight more for. And I don't think it matters that he's a millionaire already. I just think the motherfucker likes to fight.
Dude, if you actually know his story and you see he was like the 2-time, or was he a multiple belt champion on Cage Warriors?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's been fighting forever, and you know the Irish, they're tough as shit. Like that's what he's meant to do. And there's very few people that have that. You know, John Jones, Anderson Silva in his prime. Like those guys are just born to do what they're doing. You know, so it's pretty awesome. I just hope he doesn't do what he did to Jose Aldo, and it's just like boom, instant over. Like you spend $75 and you get this big hurrah, and then it's over immediately, and you're like, okay.
The replay is amazing to watch, though.
Isn't that the one where he's like in the back room before the fight and he was like working on that exact move, and then 5 minutes later goes out and does the exact thing, one punch knockout, and it's like, was it a fluke? No.
The other fight that is really fun to watch of his is Eddie Alvarez, because it's a bully beatdown.
That was a bloodbath. Yeah,
it was a
beatdown.
But
I thought that was going to be the one that might give him a test. Like Eddie Alvarez coming in, he's had so many fights. He's tough as shit. He just got manhandled. It was like I was in there with him. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see like maybe John Jones figure his shit out and start fighting again. Like, I don't know.
I hope John Jones is a different character, man. I think that guy needs to be a little wild.
Yeah, that's true. You can't really just like make him up to be this angel when he's a fighter. It's not like he's a priest or but at least get it himself to the point where he can be fighting and not getting arrested. You know what I mean?
I know that back in the day when I was hard in the paint for the MMA and training hard, I was a fucking cunt.
You're training with a bunch of alpha males.
Yeah.
In a fighting, and it's like you have to either be a little bit tougher mentally, or you have to kind of, it's fighting. It's not like you're there ballet dancing, So you get a little bit of an ego, and like you need to kind of like, you need to be full of yourself. You're not just gonna go into a sparring match or an actual fight being like, oh yeah, I don't know, I might get my ass kicked here. I don't know. Like, no, you got to think you're tough shit, and like obviously fighting and training is different,
Yeah.
Like if you're just training, most guys who are just training, they don't really have that. But when you start having to fight and promote fights and like, train for a fight where you're doing 5-minute rounds, like every day almost, like you have to get into that mindset.
When I first started the podcast, I got some messages and we're like, oh, fuck, we didn't know you were funny. And
Dude.
I thought back and I was like, fuck yeah, I was a dick.
Yeah, you did some funny shit. Like you remember that time? We won't get into anything that's not appropriate, but remember that one time where I had that night at Kevin's house and I had somehow put my my fist through the wrong thing, glass window. There was someone's face and then a window and there's a whole kerfuffle. I remember you came home and you're like, oh, we need to sanitize this thing. Remember what you did?
No.
You were stone cold sober, by the way. You were going on your way to work. You were like, oh, I remember Kevin called you or something like that. You're like pissed off. You're like, I got shit to do instead of dealing with these idiots.
Yeah.
And you commented that we had nothing to sanitize or like clean my hand up in the sink. So I'm just like there and you just like grab a bottle of cologne. We're like,
oh, I do remember that.
I remember being like, I think I hit the roof with pain. It was, in hindsight, hilarious. I remember having to go to the hospital and be like, oh, what happened to your hand, sir? Like, oh, I tripped and fell.
I do remember that. Yeah, I was stone cold sober because I was going to work.
Yeah, no, you were all business, man. Like
that was funny.
Yeah, you were. Those are good days, man. I still chat with Kevin quite often, and not tons, but yeah, he's doing pretty well.
He's got a kid now, I think, doesn't he, or a couple?
He's got one kid, and she's damn cute, man. She's like, she looks just like him, but like female version. And she's like, but like, yeah, she's a cutie. Yeah, he's doing pretty well, I think.
She doesn't look like hammered shit like he does.
No, yeah, like she's like actually gonna be a handful for him, man. Like, oh yeah,
that kid, he's a tough motherfucker.
Oh yeah, and like he's the character. He's such a character. So if she's anything like him, he'll have his hands full.
Yeah, I remember he was living in his parents' rental house with a whole bunch of roommates. It was a fucking shit show every time you go over there.
At one point, yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was basically like Zuma's after party for a while there.
Ridiculous.
And it was crazy there. And I think that those days are long over, and I still think about it. It's funny. Some funny shit went down there, man. Like, oh man.
I don't remember a lot of stuff from back then. One, due to drinking, and two, due to, I don't remember much after fucking training.
Yeah, I mean, punching people in the head so many times, I guess that'll happen, you know.
Right.
But training at Zuma was tough, man. Like, I don't know if things have. I'm assuming overall in gyms, it's probably dumbed down just because of like people are getting liabilities and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure Zuchek doesn't just have guys coming in and just getting run through the ringer.
No.
And like, because it's just not. It's things have changed, and it's not. It's not gonna last. It's not sustainable.
No.
You know.
Well, I remember some days like, Ryan James is getting ready for a fight. You're going 5-5s with him hard. Oh, great. Or like Ryan Ford or Gavin. Any of those, like, it sucked, but it was fun at the time. It was fun, but now that I think back at it, I'm like, I can't believe I fucking did that.
And it's like, what was it, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday sparring? Not just like, sparring once a week or whatever. Like sparring all the time, hard rounds, you know. And Zuma was fucking tiny, so you're right up in there banging it out, and like, it made you a better fighter though. Like, Zuchek is the man still on the island. Like, it's been forever. Like, there's no one that can touch him on the island with regards to like getting better fighters or like having better jiu-jitsu, if you know what I mean. Like, he's probably 4th degree now at some point. He's legit as fuck. So
he's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in North America, hands down.
Oh yeah, like anywhere in this area, if you want to train jiu-jitsu, you have to go to Zuma to be like, you're not. Well, there's other gyms, but
they move locations now too. They're not even in the same spot.
They're right downtown Vic. It's, I mean, I don't know if it's a better spot or what. It looks. I just see it online. It looks pretty nice. I've driven by a few times. It's like, it's right downtown. It's pretty sweet. It's definitely.
Well,
the parking lot's a hell of a lot better.
Remember when you get some snow there? Jesus Christ.
No, that thing was like 45 degrees going up.
Yeah, it was insane. I think next summer, we're going to plan a trip to the island, so we'll have to link up then. But we're up at our time, man. Let's wrap this motherfucker up.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome, man. It's good to catch up.
Do you have anybody you want to shout out real quick? Thank yous.
Yeah, man, basically just everybody that's helped me out this whole time. You know, my fire hall shamanists, like, they've been incredible. Like, they were coming to my house and cutting my grass all summer, like taking care of my property for me because I couldn't do it. And they've all the fire services throughout the country, like Toronto Fire, Burlington Fire. You guys really, you made me just so happy. They sent me like t-shirts and they just hooked it up, and it was just really cool to see the love. And my wife, she's been fucking incredible. So I owe everything to her and the people that helped me. You know, Lockhart's, Mitchell Soup, everyone. I'll just keep you guys posted on the upcoming process here, and I'm planning on surprising every doctor that comes near me and making some miracles happen here. So,
all right,
thanks for having me.
I said I had a surprise for you, and
I'll
tell you what it is now. We have draw season coming up, and I get to enter names in my party for draws. I'm going to enter your name into every one of my draws.
Oh fuck!
So
no way, dude.
I'm entering in for mule deer, moose, elk, and antelope.
Antelope?
Yeah.
Like the American pronghorn?
Yes.
Oh, do you have those in Saskatchewan?
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
So I've entered your name into every one of those draws in my party. We get drawn, I'll pay for your tag, and I'll get your ass out here. You can stay at my house, and we'll go get the job done.
Oh, we'll get it done, man. That'd be unreal. I'm going to put in for the LEH here, too. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that's incredible, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's awesome.
No problem.
I'm dying to do some real hunting, bro. Like, I am dying. Like,
we'll get you out here before, well, you're not going anywhere anyway. We'll get you out here. Before we get out of here, my sponsors again, USG Canada. Hit them up, get some shit. Fleshlight. I'm going to send you one of these because you're going to be stuck in the hospital for a month.
Oh, bro, the wife it would be funny. She'll be like, every time I'm like hassling her for a piece, she'll just be like, oh, just
get your fleshlight.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it today. Get your cup. Go get your fleshlight. That's awesome.
I'm gonna send you one just for shits and giggles, and I think you'll use it.
Is it like a specific lady? Like I know, because I heard that some ladies have like their own like signature model.
I think this is just Wendy from next door. I don't know.
Oh, she's cute.
But we've got this one. We've got the quick shot, and then we got one that looks like brass knuckles too. Make a fist and go to town. Fleshlight.
Talk shit.
Use the promo code The Final Shot. Who else we got? Sovereign Extracts, and I forgot one this morning. You guys can see I have a lovely beard on my face. I put nothing but TKO beard products in my beard. I just put this in before. This is the conditioning shit. So hit them up.
Wish I could grow one.
Yeah, right. Use the promo code The Final Shot, and you'll save some money on your purchase. Guys, that's The Final Shot. We're out.